But what happens today is that corruption is, even if you admit that corruption is being fought, then you begin to wonder what kind of war against corruption is this. It's so selective, it's done in such a way and manner as to witch hunt the opposition. If today you express a view against any policy or any action of the government, tomorrow you'll be accused of monumental corruption. Yet we've seen people in this government who have been accused of serious monumental acts of corruption, and yet they've neither been investigated nor were any charges filed against them. Now, because APC feels that the growing sentiments about Nigerians coming back and supporting PDP is so strong and overbearing that they must do something to destroy the leaders of PDP with a view to getting an advantage. And so, if you are being seen as a threat, they will say you are engaged in money laundering. They will accuse you of one offense or another. People that are accused of committing offenses, if you say, okay, I'm a member of APC today, tomorrow those charges are dropped. We've seen what had happened with people who have taken millions of naira to go and cut grass in the Sahara Desert. That matter had never seen the light of the day. We've seen the allegations that were raised about monumental acts of corruption in MPC, and the contracts were given out there. Nothing has come out of it. And I can go on and on and on. So this is not the way to fight corruption. We've seen situations where judicial officers, eminent judicial officers, eminent and well-respected jurists were accused of being involved in monumental acts of corruption. At the end of the day, what happened? I'll give you two cases. One, they made him to go through a very harrowing trial at the High Court. At the end of the day and at the stage of a no-case submission, he just said, nothing has been established against you. Go home. His integrity, his name, his career had been destroyed. Because before he was arraigned before the court, he had been tried and convicted in the court of public opinion as a result of the propaganda that EFCC had churned out. Today, that judge, a well-respected judge, had to throw in the towel and say, I want to go home and rest. How do you compensate him for the trauma he had gone through? And then there's another, even more eminent judge, a justice of the Supreme Court. They made a lot of noise about his getting involved in acts of corruption. They broke into his house in a commando manner in the middle of the night, arrested him, detained him, humiliated him, disgraced him. What do they have against him? That he had 2 passports. As a lawyer, I know it may be an offense under the Immigration Act that you own 2 passports concurrently, but certainly it's not an economic offense. You've maligned him. You've destroyed his name and integrity. How do you compensate him? Is that the way to fight corruption? No. If you are talking about campaign or election expenses, under the law, only INEC has the power to investigate the accounts of political parties. And INEC cannot single out PDP as a party and leave the others and say, PDP, we want to investigate your accounts. And to the best of my knowledge, INEC has not done that. To the best of my knowledge, INEC had not lodged complaint to EFCC against any political party, not even PDP. So where is EFCC getting their power to begin to harass PDP leaders, to begin to arrest them and malign them? Are you telling me now that as I am contesting, I call my coordinator, for instance, from one of the states and say, take 100,000 naira, go and make sure that my posters and banners are placed all over, and then you now go and catch him that when I was giving him that 100,000 naira, he should have sat me down to say, Turaki, why have you gotten this 100,000 naira they are giving me to work for you? It doesn't happen anywhere. These monies that were involved in our campaign and in our election were not public funds. I challenge anybody, including FCC, they know the truth.
Well, but the accusation is that they came from arms.
These funds were given to us.
They came from arms. They came from arms purchase.
I'm coming to that aspect. They themselves know the truth. These were contributions that were given to us by institutional investors. They gave us, they gave them. APC knows. The same sources where we got our funds, they got their own. And while our people who are going to Bank A to collect our money, there are people who are going to Bank B to collect their money. And they will wave at us while they are collecting their money, we'll wave at them because we know ourselves we are friends. But EFCC is now singling out PDP leaders for the fact that you handle campaign funds, for the fact that the national headquarters of your party send money for you to hire agents, to pay agents, and then they're saying that that is money laundering. They will get our leaders to sit down. They will get this written on their body. They will get cardboard and write money laundering as if they are hardened criminals. That is never done anywhere. It's bad. And that is the situation we have. And that is why we are saying this is not the way. This is not the way to fight corruption. These are not the only institutions we created. What of the freedom of information? Was it not PDP government that did it? We made sure that every Nigerian had access to information on what the government was doing at all times. And we've been given that information. Have they given any information to any person since they came on board?
What you're saying, Alhaji Turaki, what you're saying at some point in a different system or under a different government, I put to the now national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomhole.
Yes.
And his comment then was, this argument sounds like when you say, why are you harassing me? I am not the only thief. Why don't you go after all the other thieves?
No, that is not the same. That is not, it's not the same.
Because from here, it doesn't seem as if you're saying that these people are innocent. What you're saying is that they are being singled out.
Adams Oshiomhole, if he said what you are saying, has missed the point, and I'm not surprised that he will miss the point because of who he is. The truth of the matter is this. I am saying that what PDP leaders had done in handling and managing election and campaign funds was not an offense.
How about the arms one? How about the arms one?
We'll come to the issue of the arms now, but let us settle this one. If anybody feels aggrieved that indeed we've gone beyond the legal threshold, then they should have reported those to INEC. It's INEC that has the power. We're talking of who has the power to do what under our laws. It's INEC, not EFCC. But nobody had complained against our handling and management of our campaign election funds. And so somebody cannot go and complain on behalf of INEC. This is the reality. I'm not saying that they committed an offense. But what I'm saying is that what we did, they did. So if they are saying
that yours was an offense,
if they are saying that no wrongdoing had arisen from what they have done, which I agree with, then no wrongdoing then should be seen to have arisen in what we have done. Pure and simple. So if he said that is about an offender saying, well, I'm not the only one who has committed an offense, it's an absolutely different ball game, because in this situation, no offense had been committed. When you talk about the arms,
yes, the arms money that went towards campaigns.
Let me tell you, and I stand to be challenged by anybody, not one kobo, not one single kobo from the alleged arms money found itself into the PDP campaign in 2015. And I'm in a position to know, because I was the Deputy Director General of the presidential campaign in 2015. I knew how we got our monies, and I knew that the alleged arms monies were not part of what we use in our campaign. They know that. If they would be sincere, if they would be honest to themselves, they know that.
But then how did that money end up in the hands of some of your members?
We have a situation. We have a situation where, like it's been said, give a dog a bad name to hang it. But this PDP dog cannot be hanged. No matter what they want to do, they cannot hang us. The issues of arms monies,
yes,
find its way in the hands of other leaders. Now, if you are talking about issues of security, and I had the privilege of chairing the Presidential Committee on Dialogue with the Insurgents, and I know through my interaction with leaders in the security sector that there are several ways to address the issues of insecurity. Several ways. both the usual and unusual, the understandable and sometimes even ununderstandable manners. That is how it's being done. I do not want to go into it. But let me say that as far as the issue of running the 2015 election was concerned, that PDP did not take any money. And I want to repeat again, PDP did not take any money or monies from the arms funds or any other fund that was not legitimate.
Now, be that as it may, let me come to the issue you raised a little bit earlier on, which is the issue of movements back and forth, people defecting. Now, at this point in time, there seems to have been movement in both directions.
Yes.
First, there was the National Assembly mass defection. 14 or so senators and about 37 House of Reps members moved to PDP.
Back home.
A number of people pointed out that these were more or less the same people who moved in the other direction about 4 years ago, around this time. But only more recently, you then had this movement in the other direction. Senator Godswill Akpabio moved from the PDP to the APC. And this had been someone who had been a lifelong member of the PDP. Now, beyond the issue of the individuals who are moving, and I'm asking you this because you're a lawyer, there are two issues yet again. The first is the legality of this movement. Because the Constitution, as far as we can read it as laymen, does stipulate that such movements are valid if only you can establish that there is a faction, factionalization, complete factionalization in the party from which you are leaving.
Yes.
The second point is that if you then leave, if there is no complete factionalization, you're supposed to resign and get another mandate on the platform of your new party. Now, both these issues are raising a lot of dust, partly because, of course, we are in election season and a lot of people are looking to take advantage. But first of all, before you speak as a politician and welcome them back home, legally speaking, are these defections valid in both directions?
If we move from the perspective of the extant provisions of the law, yes, you must show that indeed there is a split within the party. I quite perfectly agree with you. Now, let's look at APC. Today, you have APC, and today you have RAPC with leadership. While Adams Oshomole is leading APC, Engineer Buba Galadima is leading RAPC, and he has a full complement of leadership on both sides. Nobody can sincerely say today, the way things are, that APC has not been factionalized. So if APC is factionalized, then every member of the National Assembly in APC has the legitimate right to continue to stay either with APC or RAPC and or to even move to any other political party. That one is settled.